But don't go at length. I mean, just in a few.
Through the city manager, the scope was to update our CRA plan, and renegotiate an agreement with the county for us as well.
Okay,
And Mr. Mayor,
okay,
to take it through the approval process with the county until completion.
good. To take it through the approval process.
Correct.
Have we gone through that?
We're in the middle of it, or we're near the end of it.
Okay. And now, what was the timeline? Did we have a timeline of certain milestones that we had to do by certain dates?
Yes, I mean, we had to get it all done by the sunset date of September 30th, 2016.
Now, how often did MRA go to the county to meet with county staff and or elected officials?
Every meeting.
Hmm?
Every meeting they went to. I'm looking at a listing here of about 13 meetings that
Of
they
the-
attended.
Of the Board of Adjustment or
No.
Planning Board or
No.
Commission?
This is with county staff, the chairman staff.
County staff, chairman staff?
Yes, there's 13.
Give me some of the dates from like 6 weeks, 6 months, 9 months, a year ago.
September 8th, 2015, December 7th, 2015, December 18th, 2015, January 7th, 2016.
That were with the mayor's staff?
Mayor's commissioner staff, mayor staff. February 9th.
What were the
2016.
feedback then? What were the feedback?
I wasn't around during that specific time, so I wasn't in those specific.
Yeah.
discussions
Mayor,
as of
I
now.
mean,
It's fairly simple. At this point, we have a fully negotiated interlocal agreement through
Mhm.
the mayor's staff. So,
okay.
they completed their task, they negotiated the agreement,
Mhm.
went through legal review, and from our perspective, we were moving forward to get the Board of County Commissioners' approval of the agreement.
Okay. And now, do we have any other commissioners who are objecting to what we have at the final product that we have?
Based on the approval of the interlocal briefings that I've personally given
Mhm.
on the CRA items, and our consultants, we have large support for the item to move forward.
Mhm.
I mean, the ordinance was passed unanimously at
You-
committee and at board.
Unanimously,
Yeah.
including the chairman.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, it's an oxymoron question, but so what about after they extended our CRA? Was there any? How soon did you start getting questions from the chairman about
Well,
his objections?
Immediately following the passage of the CRA on September 20th, there was email exchanges that
Okay,
were
from
happening.
September
September 20th. yeah.
afterward. Okay.
But our first official meeting with the chairman's office was October 14th, 2016. That's where we had the chairman, our attorney, county attorney, county staff, chairman's office staff, CRA staff, and myself. So that was October 14th. So
Okay. So how much did we pay RMA for this? Deputy manager will know. Mhm.
It was approximately $75,000.
$75,000 more or less, plus or minus 2,000. So this is something. This is a process, and Councilman Bien-Aimé will attest to that. Were you a councilwoman, Sterling was here then, and as well as Councilman Scott Galvin and Councilwoman Carol Keys, and we pretty much, and we know what we went through what we went through to revive this CRA, after 10 years, because we wanted to get it extended for another 29 or 30 years, whatever you may want to call it. And so we pretty much, this is something that we're actually proud of ourselves. And because we know that without our CRA, we will not be able to do the things that we need to do to assist the people who are low-paying jobs. Low-paying jobs, they have homes that are 40, almost 50-year-olds. So we have a very old housing stock. And I cannot imagine anyone trying to take these assistance from the people, who do not have the means. I've never heard that done. The county, as a matter of fact, and at one point of time, they were thinking of doing away with some of the CRAs, but I guess, afterward, they came to their senses. They renewed the CRA for Miami Beach. I believe that maybe the last CRA that was renewed before ours. I may not be right. I don't know.
Yeah, that
But
was.
so I don't know where this whole Humla is coming from, and I would imagine that the people who need the help from us, if we turn our back away from them, I don't think we will always be forgiven. So, having said that, we have all the information at hand, and I'm really asking everyone to really move with a united front in this, because I don't think. Well, the other question: are all of these that are being objected, are they part of the actual, the actual interlocal agreement? Because from what I know, as a municipality, we hold our own destiny as to how what we do in terms of programs that we put for helping the people who need assistance
Well, I would
in
say
the city of North Miami.
within the city
Yes.
context. However, the CRA and the attorney can opine on it, follows state statute, and there's governance by the county.
Yeah, but that is in the state statute.
Well,
Yeah, but there's still governance
of
by
course,
the county. Yeah.
excuse me, Mr. Mayor.
Hmm.
Council, we have the redevelopment plan, which has all of our programs in
Yes.
it, and what, our blueprint is for redeveloping the CRA area.
Mhm.
That plan is prepared by the CRA, approved by the CRA, then this council, and then ultimately the county. So ultimately, they're the arbiters or the decision makers as to yes or no over what we want to do at the end of the day.
Okay, more questions from the board here?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
From the CRA board here?
Go ahead. No, well, I was gonna say, I will make an attempt, and I'm saying it publicly, to reach out to the commissioner's office, at least trying to schedule a meeting. And if you would send an email publicly, and you could send, Calvin, requesting that for me and that stuff, because unless we really understand, it may simply be a miscommunication or misunderstanding. So unless I, get it exactly from, I won't make any judgment until I get such an answer. So would you please do that? I did try to send communication with the commissioner, so at least I will do that to make sure, try to understand at least what's going on, because I really don't understand part of the
I'll do that.
conversation you are having. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Manager, I don't know if the attorney or the manager are going to answer that question. You said you have a deadline of December 20th, 2016 for what?
The ordinance that the county commission passed on September 20th, which gave your CRA the additional 29 years, has a stipulation in it. The stipulation is that this second amendment to the interlocal agreement has to be completed and approved by the Board of County Commissioners by December 20th, 2016, or the CRA sunsets.
Or the CRA sunset?
Yes, if we're
The
not.
language is there?
The language is there. That's our issue. That's why we're here before you, I think.
Okay, if
There
I
is an
understand,
urgency.
the life of the CRA has been extended, right?
Correct, subject to the second amendment to the interlocal agreement being approved by December 20th by the county commission.
Yeah, if the county want, they always can review the ordinance and make another amendment to it.
That's a possibility, but that ordinance would have to be brought back by the
I
by the
understand
chairman,
that.
by the chairman.
But the chairman is the one that stopped us from moving forward at this point.
Well, he's put a condition on his moving
I
forward.
understand that.
Right,
That's mean,
so-
when you say the deadline is December 20th, that doesn't mean on December 20th, the CRA gonna die.
If we don't have an interlocal.
If we don't have another local agreement, or if the county commission doesn't come up with any amendment in the ordinance, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
That date could be changed, but
Okay.
the chairman must bring that in front of his commission.
I understand. And I think if we want to know exactly why the commissioner, the chairman of the county commission, want to see in a new map, I think we need to reach out to the chairman and see exactly what you want to accomplish. That's why I second your request to see if you can set meeting with members of the council who is willing to talk with the chairman of the county commission, because I spoke with him this afternoon and he said he couldn't be here because he had other engagement. That's why he couldn't be here. But he's willing to come here and explain exactly what he mean by removing that section in the new map for the CRA.
So
I think it just maybe misunderstand, or maybe the same way you have other people on the county commission at their input in the CRA of the city of North Miami. It's normal that maybe the chairman of the county commission want to put his input in the North Miami CRA. That's why we need to reach out to him and see exactly what is a county commission. The CRA doesn't belong to the city of North Miami alone. It's the city of North Miami and the county commission. And he's the chairman of the county commission. That's when we need to reach out to him and see exactly what he wants, and if we can come up with an agreement for the life of the CRA to be extended, and then we can do what we promised to the people. I think that's the best way of solving the problem, because by ourselves we cannot extend the life of the CRA. And compromise, I think it's better than just let it go, enter to a fight with the county commission, and then rest the CRA. I think the best approach is to reach out. Since the administration, you have been doing your part, now it's on us to work and make sure we reach out to the county commission. I think that's what we need to be.
Well, I have, he called and I missed the conversation, the call back and forth. But yeah, I want to have that conversation with him. It's not that I think that I should be the one or he should be the one. That's beyond the point, because this been going on since October 14th. Somebody
It's
should
been
be
going
talking.
on. It's been going on since 2015.
Well, I wasn't here.
Yeah,
but
it's been going on to 2015, and we've been going to the commission, to the board of to planning commission. We've been going there since. When did we hire RMA?
January.
yeah, 2015.
Okay, so all the restructuring was done with the input of the entire commission. And that's why they okayed the extension pending the agreement of the interlocal agreement. So this did not start just now. It started since, over a year ago. So I just wanted to make that clear.
That's when the direction is to set up
I got
meetings
the
with,
direction. So tomorrow.
Well, I only spoke to me. I don't know if any
Oh,
other
for me
members
too.
would like
I will.
to.
Well, what I'll do, since I can't have you both on an email, I will
Mhm.
separately request a meeting for you and a meeting for you with the chairman.
Okay.
or the member of the council.
No,
if,
whoever.
Or
Not
in-
everybody.
whoever-
but I still have to do it individually.
Okay, and now for respect to our CRA advisory board, I have two members who actually came today. They said they only came if I would allow them to say a few words on the item. I believe you still the chairman, Mike? Yes, sir. Yeah, we have the chairman of the CRA advisory board who wants to speak on the item, as well as board member Miss Claudie Irvin. No, well, the advisory, they just wanted to say a few words, so I think we owe him that much. 'Cause
Well, I think that the CRA has done so much for this city. And, I recently was quoted as saying, and I really believe it, when we were going through the whole extension process, when I was asked, and I was quoted as saying that I believed in the extension for two reasons. One, because of the fact that there were so many projects in this city that needed to be done. And the second was that we now had the council and staff in place that could make it happen. And make it happen in the right way. And I am I don't know what to say after tonight's meeting, other than the fact that our staff, I know our CRA attorney and Rasha, and I know Duke, and certainly Larry have just, our city manager has just done so much to make this happen on behalf of the city. And all I can say is I certainly applaud anything that can be done to speak with the chairman and, you know, and whoever needs to be spoken to continue our CRA moving in a forward manner, because, again, I think we have you as a council and staff that we haven't had before that are now in place to make wonderful things happen for this city. And I think whatever needs to be done to make sure that the CRA continues on is a very valuable thing. Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, I want to, oh,
No, go ahead.
no,
Why don't
she's,
you
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is Mary Estime, Mr. Mayor.
Claudia,
Mary Estime
I know you
Irvin.
by
Claudia,
Claudia.
is the family name. Anyway, I'm a proud member of the CRA board. It means the world to me. I tell everybody I work, live, and play here. And I know that a lot of the concerns that the county had, we trimmed the fat. We did everything that we were supposed to. Like the mayor said, we literally, I mean, when I say we, the CRA staff literally, we're doing this. Is this what you want? They would come back to the advisory board and say X, Y, Z. So I find it strange. And I'm going to take the approach that Vice Mayor take. I think there has to be a miscommunication, because what I think I'm hearing is not possible. It's not possible at all, because again, we've taken the steps, the steps to meet them at every angle. So I'm asking Mayor and Council to please fight for this. You know what this means. I know you know more than me what this means to us. We need the CRA. We need to get it together, and we need to clear up this miscommunication that I'm going to call.
and Mr. Mayor, let's be clear. The life of the CRA has been extended. There is
Right.
a clause
And my
will give
understanding,
us, huh?
and my understanding is if this clause is not fixed,
Exactly.
then it will sunset. Is that not what I'm hearing?
The county, the county commission will make that final decision.
Correct. But what they're asking
Let's
is,
not let's not fight. We're gonna
I'm
have
not
the CRA.
fighting.
The CRA has been extended for 28 years. Okay, the rest, we on the dais gonna fix it.
correct, and that's what I'm
Thank you.
asking you to do respectfully.
And I don't want anybody to keep saying that we need the CRA in order to fix people home, because I've been here
It's
for the
deeper
past.
than that. I sit on
No,
the
I'm-
advisory
no,
board, and I understand
Okay,
that it's
because
deeper than
I've
that.
been here for about 4 years. I can tell you, we fix people home with the general fund, not with the CRA money. Okay.
Well,
Don't say, well, it's been 4 years, they haven't
No,
spent
I-
money
I
on repairing
understand.
home. That's mean, don't
well-
use that aspect to let people know that by not having the CRA, we won't be able to fix people home.
Respectfully, I don't believe I said that.
I did not
But-
say you said
okay,
that.
well,
Okay.
you're addressing me,
Okay,
sir.
but we're working on that.
Yes, no problem. Thank you for your time and attention.
Did you
well,
wanna say
no,
something?
let me clear up some stuff. We used the general fund because we didn't have any money from the CRA. So if
What do you mean we don't have any?
no, I don't. The plan that we had in Rasha, you as the director, I don't think we had $400,000 allocated that we could have used for home beautification, for home fix, roof, whatever the case is. Is that
Alex,
correct?
We have a budget. We passed the
No,
budget.
no,
we
no,
can-
no,
we-
I
wait,
understand that,
Let's
yes.
do it one at a time, please.
Yes, no.
Good afternoon. Yes, when I came on board in 2014, the CRA budget was very low, and we were trying to restructure,
Mhm.
and we didn't have a housing program.
No.
What we had originally was in 2009, and it was suspended.
Okay.
Okay, because I do want that to be clear. First of all, I really would like to meet with the commissioner, because I don't want to put any speculation or anything what he's thinking, unless we have a meeting. We all are here, regardless we like one another or not. We are here to work on behalf of the citizens of North Miami who elect all of us. So if there's a thinking of one of our colleagues, one of our other elected officials, I like to at least to be in the thinking why. Perhaps I agree, perhaps I disagree. Maybe we come up to some type of compromise, but I do understand, and I don't want to say anything before I speak to the commissioner who actually, or the chairman, I'm sorry, who actually put forth, it's my understanding, Mr. Manager. That's why I was asking you for specific dates, because I only hear about that particular concept like last week or maybe the week before last, and I wanted to wait until at least we have some type of public forum to, I thought somebody from the commissioner's office was gonna be here to at least give us some understanding what's the thinking behind it. So I would reserve any comments until I talk to the commissioner. But no, housing is important. It is essential, especially now that we are moving. And I applaud the county when they say 10% of the revenue would be going to housing. Now, we could sit down in any type of regulation or legislation that we could form if there's any concern regarding housing. But the removal of the entire map, changing our whole landscape, is something that I would like to speak to the commissioner about. Thank you.
Former Councilman, Mr. Despinos.
Yes, good afternoon. Jacques Despinos, 95 Northeast 131 Street in North Miami. As a former councilman, and I was fighting very hard for the birth of the CRA. With Scott Galvin, we worked very, very, very hard. And the CIA was supposed to help the city, especially anything west of the track and within the west. When Biscayne Landing come on the picture, they're supposed the construction to start. And the discussion was to make sure the CIA was responsible to make sure everything west to help people with the housing, private housing. Okay? We give people money to buy house and repair house, everything. Residence was included. If that removed, I don't know. I know the part was there. The CIA do good job. It does very, very good job, and the city of North Miami need the CIA. However, we know also there's some commissioner in the county who doesn't want the CIA for some reason. That's another story. We're not going there and there. What we have before us tonight, I think there's a misunderstanding somewhere. And we have to find out exactly what the chairman have in mind, and for the best of the city and the residents of North Miami, try to solve the problem. I don't see a big problem there. But is the thing now is to find out exactly what it's looking for. And a compromise is part of the game. We won't have to compromise, but we have to, first of all, the favor of your guy here have to be together. I see a little, but we have to come together. If your guy cannot come together in your own, it's going to be very hard to convince the chairman in order to do anything. But the CIA must live. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms.
Mr. Mayor, I will encourage that members of the board or members of the community reach out to Commissioner Monistim, Chairman Monistim, to know exactly what it's all about. And I invite Councilman Despinos, if you want to be with me when we're going to meet with Commissioner Monistim, we can understand exactly why he's asking for us to reduce the map or whatever it is, or members of the community.
Can we,
Thank you very much.
opposed to, so that we don't have no miscommunication, can we have a sunshine meeting where many of us, Mr. Manager,
No.
Mr. City Attorney, whoever wants to attend will attend?
that's fine, and you just have to follow the notice requirements.
Okay, well, get a date from his office, would that work?
Yeah.
So that we
will
don't
work.
have, we all will be on the same page, there won't be no he said, she said type of mess, because right now it's going down that route, and I think at least let's hear what the commissioner has to say, and then we'll, okay, thank you.
Miss Attorney Jolinda Herring, I'm very sorry. We we just wanted you to have a little gist of how we labor here. So that's why. Yes. That's the bond. That's the
You
tab.
haven't read it. You haven't
Through-
read it.
Huh? Oh yeah,
Oh,
go
that's
ahead, go
a
ahead.
discuss-
Yeah, that's a discussion.
No vote on tab F. Tab E, discussion and presentation on bond referendum.
Through the mayor, council, I know we've been having a dialogue about the possibility of doing a general obligation bond referendum that, I guess, like the CRA, is critical to the city's future, so that we can reinvest in our infrastructure, our facilities, technology that is sorely needed. Some months ago, the city council gave me the authorization to proceed, myself and the city attorney, to proceed with engaging bond counsel.
Thank you, Mr. Zerkowitz.
Thank you. To engage bond counsel and all the other professionals necessary to do that analysis. We have with us our bond counsel, Jolinda Herring from Bryant Miller Olive. She's going to do a quick presentation regarding the general obligation, a possible timeline, and some considerations on potential referendum questions. So with that, I'll hand it over to Jolinda.
Good evening. My name is Jolinda Herring, and I'm with the law firm of Bryant Miller Olive. I believe that you have a PowerPoint presentation in front of you. I am not going to go through the whole thing. I ask you to read it at your leisure, but I do want to hit some of the high points on there. First of all, let's talk about, I'm on slide 3. So what is a bond? And basically it's a debt instrument. So it is debt. So that you know that when you issue the bond, you are actually agreeing to borrow money from investors. And there are two types of bonds, revenue bonds and general obligation bonds. And we are now talking about general obligation bonds. So I'm going to go to slide 6. When we talk about general obligation bonds are secured by the full faith and credit and issuing power, taxing power of the city. So that means you are basically pledging your ad valorem taxes, your property taxes, and that is above the 10 mil cap that you have. And so that those proceeds can only be used for capital projects, so they cannot be used for operating expenses. Without having a referendum, you can only secure debt with ad valorem property taxes for a period of less than 12 months. So generally, because of the type of capital projects that you're looking at, we want to repay that over a longer than 12-month period, then we will have to go through a referendum, which I know the city has been through before. So again, it will be a referendum for capital projects. And once you issue the bonds and start to spend down the money, you've got 3 years in which to spend the money. So we want to make sure whatever projects that you are looking to fund or projects that are really ready and you're ready to move on those projects versus projects that may be in your 5 or 10 year horizon. One of the things in the bond provisions under Chapter 75 of the Florida statutes, it allows you to do a voluntary procedure called a bond validation. And basically that is to go into the circuit court, and what you want to do is to provide some legal certainty for your bonds so that there's really no question about your authority to issue the types of projects or anything related to the bonds. There are some criteria which would be required to be put on your ballot. One of the ones I will just point out is that your referendum question has to be 75 words or less. So let's talk about the projects. I know that your staff has provided to us a proposed list of capital projects that you are considering. So it is going to be very important that we get down exactly what the projects are, the scope of the projects, and how much we expect to spend on the projects. So the list that we have, and I will certainly defer to staff, but the list that we have, we're going to look at public facilities improvements, your Sunkist Grove Community Center, your Keystone Park Community Center, your Griffin Community Center, the Gwen Margolis Community Center, and the Enchanted Forest Elaine Gordon Park are some of the public improvements that you are looking to do. In addition to those, we also have some technology improvements, such as citywide servers and Wi-Fi equipment, doing an upgrade to your Channel 77, surveillance cameras and closed-circuit TV, your ERP accounting system, and fiber runs connecting sites on the City Hall campus. We're also looking at projects for the arts and sciences improvements, such as a citizens science labs, looking at about 4 of those in different areas of the city, the Griffin Amphitheater, the Miami New Way Theater, expansion for MoCA, and some art in public places.
How do we get Miami Nowhere on there? Have we acquired it yet?
No, through the manager, just the possibility of us possibly acquiring outside land that's available that we could program and look to add different culture into the city.
Yeah, by so doing, we increase the asking price right away. I mean, just to put it out there.
Well, these aren't definite projects, these are prospective projects, things that in this nature we might look at.
Okay.
But other projects are definite projects.
Okay.
So, Mr. Mayor, if I might follow up on that then, when do we, I'm seeing some of these potential projects for the very first time tonight as I sat down at this chair.
Yes.
When do we start to flesh out better, what projects are gonna focus on and what they entail?
So, part of one of our previous conversations, we had talked about having more of a public input process. So that's when that would happen. This set of projects are things that have been rolled forth in the past. You have seen them before in our internal workshop presentation, but not as this is the absolute. And also we need to talk about what are we gonna do? These are just names right now. You know, do we wanna do new floors? Do we wanna knock down the building and build brand new? Do we wanna, what kind of assets do you wanna add into those things? You know, so this is just kind of very high, probably the highest level you can think of, so.
So we'll flesh out all details before the voters are asked to decide
Correct.
yes or no on bonds.
Correct.
Yes.
And when are you targeting this to potentially go before voters?
There's a
Oh.
timeline.
she's
later on.
asking.
Yeah, well, let's continue through the projects. Here's some additional projects. Parks and Recreation, Ben Franklin New Park, Northwest Regional Sports and Tournament Complex at Pepper Park, stadium upgrades, then some of the infrastructure in Chinatown, Keystone and Sanssouci, Guard Gate, sidewalks.
And I'm sorry, but if we don't catch this real quick, we'll set off a firestorm, I think. Keystone and Sanssouci Guard Gates, plural. Somebody just catch that, because somebody will think now we're pitting Keystone versus Sanssouci, and we're going to have one gate, and they're going to have to fight it out over who gets it.
Yes.
Not that those neighborhoods would do that, but
I don't understand.
Okay. Transit Village Development. Then some community policing activities, code compliance, electric fleet vehicles, police parking garage, police fleet vehicle replacement and upgrade, shots fired, automatic license plate reader systems. So from there, once we flesh
I'm
out
sorry,
the
what about the municipal complex? What about here?
That was in the public facility.
Was it? I don't see it.
which one was that?
It's not on there.
Municipal complex.
I don't think it's on there.
It's not on there.
No, it's not on there.
That is one of the projects though, sir. Just I left off of the presentation.
That's the key, that's the
I know
key
that's
project.
I know, sir.
Okay, and we can certainly get that added. One of the things, you know, so once we figure out the projects, we'll have to, you know, do the ballot question. And this is just a sample ballot question. We still have time to work on that. I want to flip you over to, let's see what page it is. Page 23, which is our timeline. This is just a proposed timeline, and it really is going to depend on when you need the money. So we basically will take when you need the money and sort of back up from there. But this is just a proposed timeline, which can certainly be altered at any time. So in talking about the projects, you know, we need to get the projects finalized before we can really move any further on this. So, you know, you as a public body need to make that decision in terms of what projects you actually want to fund with a general obligation bond. We've put in here by November 30th, but again, that can certainly be moved.
What's important about the timeline is to show the perspective from the ordinance approval by this board and the time frame to actually get to a vote.
Yes.
In this particular schedule, I think we show, what is it? I can't see it. My eyes are bad.
Which one?
No, I gave mine away. December, was it a December
Right, we've got it-
14th vote?
Right, well, the December 14th would be for us drafting. I just moved it to January in
January.
terms of the vote on the referendum ordinance, because I didn't know, you know, how your December meetings went. But certainly, if we could get in the 2 meetings in December, we can make that happen.
And so you could have a special election within 90 days of that. No, it's just, again, this is a
What did?
proposed timeline.
Yes.
But we're just trying to show you context of your authorization as a board to actually getting an election done. It can be done as quickly as roughly 90 days.
And would we be holding this as a standalone city election? Would we be tying it into a county vote?
All decisions that you need to make as a board.
Okay, if you will, when you bring those back to us, include the costs of a standalone city election for us, please, because that.
Okay.
What?
Well, I think that,
Last question? No question yet?
Yeah, no, I know you walked away. There's no decisions or anything going on. This is just giving
Right.
some possible
This-
possible time.
I think this is just a presentation. I think the important thing here is for this body to go through and really drill down on the projects in terms of what you would like to see funded. It will be very important that once you decide on the projects, part of this will be your ability and you being able to go out and sell these projects, so to speak, to your residents and to your citizens to be able to vote on the projects. I mean, that's going to be a very important part, and that's going to take work on your part. There is an education process between the time you pass the referendum election until the time the election is actually held, is when you want to be talking to the citizens about the projects.
Thank you very much, Madam Attorney. I'm going to yield to you after I make a quick point. Like I said, I mean, I would like to hate that this. We've been talking about this GOB for quite a long time. I don't know why the municipal complex is not part of the list. I'm hoping, and I want someone to please reassure me that it was not taken out by design, because.
It was not taken out by design.
Okay.
Not at all. What I submitted, one of my pages is missing that I submitted to Ms. Jalinda. It didn't have the municipal complex on it.
So we want we want the record to show that the municipal complex is part of the potential list of.
With renderings.
Okay. Ms.
I just have,
Councilwoman.
I mean, we just got this PowerPoint right now, so I haven't read it. But I have 2 questions. One, I see that you have the various projects broken down into about 5, 6 different referendums. Is that the way it's going to be, or is it we're going to vote one bond, or are we going to break it down?
Well, once we get the final list of projects, we will be able to make that determination. At that point, we will try to get the projects grouped into the least number of ballot questions as possible. So you may end up with more than one ballot question, simply because the ballot requires a single subject rule. So we've got to make sure that the projects can fit up under a single subject.
Okay. And the other question is, I see that we're authorized, the bond question, the referendum question, authorizes bonds at rates not exceeding the maximum legal rate. So if the citizens vote on that, are we voting on a rate of like 18 or 22%? Is that what the maximum legal rate is?
The maximum legal rate is 18%, but what you are voting on is that it would not be higher than that amount. Right now, interest rates are probably at about the 2 to 3%. Hopefully they will hold. We will see what happens after the election tomorrow. It is expected that the rates may go up, but they will not be anywhere near 18%.
But do you think that would trouble people voting to give the council and our staff the authority to borrow at 18% or 10 or 12 or 15% even?
Well, after this process, if the referendum is approved, we will be back to you so that you can approve the details of the bonds. So you will have a better idea of what the rates are at that time.
But we're voting at the referendum on maximum legal rate.
Correct.
I'm just
Right.
saying.
We are
people,
voting that it
people
would-
going to the voting booth, are they gonna, if they think about it, they say, gee, we're letting the council borrow money at 15%, 18%. Just thought.
If I can address that, Councilwoman. Typically, even when you come back with the details, we're gonna give you, and I like to refer to it as a constraint box.
Right.
We're gonna be given a constraint box of what our maximums are on all angles, and then we go and we figure out how to fit in the box. In this case, we're talking about more of a disclosure item so that people understand what legally is the maximum rate. But as the bond counsel has explained, and several of the bond deals I've done, you never, rarely do you come close. When we actually go to the detail to approve the actual bond issuance document, you're gonna tell me, based on the research proffered by our financial advisor and our bankers that we'll have on our team, well, the maximum rate you're gonna allow me to go to market with is gonna be 6%, depending on what the market conditions are. And then what we do, we put the deal together, we do all the disclosures, and when we go to sell, we do our pricing, and because North Miami Beach, all of these Miamis have great brands. I don't know what the impact of this most recent action is. Miami-Dade County, it is likely that that bond issuance will be hopefully oversubscribed, and your interest rate will fall right in the range that we've disclosed, what we're experiencing right now.
And the additional, can I just add one thing to that? Additionally, as part of the education process, I am pretty sure your staff will be able to give your residents an example of, if we issue this amount at this assumed interest rate, which would be generally kind of what rates would be hovering around at that time. So they would be able to get an idea, and that would not be 18%.
Okay. Looking for full disclosure for the residents so they understand what exactly they're voting for and what it is
Yes.
going to cost them. That's
Yes.
really important.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
thank you.
Any other questions?
I don't have any question, Mr. Mayor, but if you allow me to say a couple words. When I saw the agenda, I saw this, I knew we had conversation around it, and I was always opposed to the bond because of several different issues, and the manager and we had spoke about those issues when we talk about the quality of life of our residents. I do think that we have some work that we need to do, not only as a city, but as a council, to address some of these quality of life that we have in our city. It's almost like we are in two different worlds, or two different North Miami. I just cannot imagine myself asking my constituents to vote on something. I, right now we have a problem where residents are having their trash cannot even be picked up on time. They have, if you walked into this city hall during the work hours, the line was so long for a $20 credit that we gave to these folks. And some are calling my office day and night because they missed the deadline. And when you think about that, you're like, it's $20. That's nothing to us. When we assign, we say we're going to give out turkey, the lines, there's really a need that we really need to do our duties as elected officials to really help our citizens before we could put a referendum on them and ask them to shed out some more money to improve the city. Yes, we do need to improve the city, but I do think that we need to, my argument against it, I'm just putting it out openly, will be the quality of life that they have right now. This is definitely not with it. Maybe a year from now, we are doing some things to work to get there. We trying to solve. We just a few minutes ago, we talking about our CRA might be, these folks needs help with their houses to be fixed. And the argument was made that there's some folks who cannot afford this and cannot afford that. And on top of that, we're going to ask them, oh, okay, it's fine. Take $100 or $80 million bond on top of it. We are not every other city, and I just say that we need to be very, very mindful. I just want to be on the record saying that this is a little bit too premature for the discussion of this. If we do want to have this conversation, we need to step up as a city and give our residents something. And then we could come up to them and ask them to give us something back. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
That's it. Well, just a little, a few words to what the Vice Mayor just said. You may sit down. Is the City of Miami Gardens levied a bond? I believe it was a $60 million bond, and I don't believe that their median income is higher than the City of North Miami. So one thing that I have learned in about 60, 60, no 70.
60, I think it was 67.
Yeah, 67. So their median income cannot be any lower than ours, and stimulating on the economy means that sometimes you have to borrow money, you have to inject money into the system for it to work. So we have a lot of big projects. We have the Chinatown, projects coming up, and I'm sure that will put some stress on our citizens as well. But that doesn't mean, because the task is daunting, doesn't mean that one should walk away from it. That's what I'm saying.
So, Mayor, just for the record, there's no votes on tab E?
There's no vote. At this time, we'll open citizens forum for anyone who wants to talk about any item. Citizens forum. Yeah, well.
Good evening, William Prevotel, 11950 North Bay Shore Drive. I guess I'll just touch on a few items. One on the bond issue. It's a little disappointing that when we sold real property, land assets, that we weren't able to take those proceeds and transfer them directly into real property, land assets, whether they're building improvements or expanding our footprint in our parks and such. Would have included our city hall, but that's been sort of negated. That said, a bond issue at this time might be advisable in the fact that interest rates are predicted to go up. The economy and the building phase is going down. There may be a shortage of construction jobs and such, or construction projects in the area, and this may fill the gap in the coming few years. A separate thought on the CRA, and that's a concern for residential. This is a general observation. Our city really needs to consider more mixed-use projects, not just mixed with retail down below, but also with office space and
Thank you very much,
residential
Mr.
space together in the same building. We're concerned about parking and traffic congestion. Well, we could solve a lot of that traffic congestion by having live-work arrangements throughout the cities, throughout our city. And we might consider, whatever you pick a number, maybe it's a density of 20 dwelling units or more, something like that, which is already an apartment building. If that could be made to have both residential and commercial on a regular basis throughout the city, it gives more flexibility, more probability of being developed, and it will start to address congestion. You'll get less people moving out and less conflicts and less prime-time traffic jams. I don't know if I missed it earlier, but there was a, okay, I'll skip the other part I was going to say, and just finally, since no one else has mentioned the upcoming political situation, I'd like to say that North Miami stands for an all-inclusive society coming up this election day, and we are not pro-fascist, that we are looking for a more democratic process, and I wish well for our city in getting through this election cycle. Thank you very much.
Public Citizen Forum is still open.
Good evening, Mayor, Councilman Philippe Bien-Aimé, Vice Mayor Alex Desulme, Councilman Scott Galvin, Councilwoman Carol Keys, City Manager, everybody. Good evening. I'm coming to talk about the Jasper Cup this year in November. Let me let friends speak for me.
Good evening one more time. We are here representing Diaspora Cup at 2016. It's our 11th edition in North Miami Stadium. Diaspora Cup is an established organization in the city of North Miami. We've been here for 11 years. We are 100% North Miami event. And the reason I say we are 100% is because most of the people, they can come and see exactly what the city has to offer to us when it comes to soccer game. So, for example, we put such event, when people come, they discover the fun they can have. Now, one thing we want to add is the safety to our event. If you're not familiar with Diaspora Cup, normally, we have never registered any major incident where we would have to have any intervention from the North Miami Police on or off the field, which means we prove people again that the city of North Miami, they can come and then they can just have fun and in a safe place with no safety concern. Now, one last thing I want to mention before we move forward with our request. I want to tell you that we have a tradition in Diaspora Cup. The mayor normally give the trophy to the winning team. The reason we do it that way is because we want to show the people that we have, okay, that. So,
you know the best thing, I mean, I'm sorry, but this is Citizen Forum.
Yes.
Where people are only allowed 2 minutes to speak. The best way would have been for you guys to try to get the manager to put this as an item so that you could have ample time to really talk about it. I don't know if at this point of time, if the council,
I have met with these gentlemen. They put in a request, and we're processing it via the normal process, if you will. Sorry to repeat the words. And we'll have to bring it back based on the request they're making, we'll have to bring it back as an item. So that'll be coming at the next, their event is the Saturday after Thanksgiving, correct? The first one.
The first one would be November 27th.
Right, so it'll be on the next, it'll have to be
That's
on the next.
going to be the first, that's the first.
Yeah, well, if it is the interest of the other members on the dais to discuss it, I mean, but at this,
I'm bringing it as an item on our next commission agenda.
I'm sorry, Mr. Manager. It's going to be too late because the event is on 27. We have some preparation to do. If you can do it.
And there's nothing you could do. I mean, this is crazy.
You should have asked the Mr. Manager to have it. Why didn't you make the request to have it on the agenda?
Yes.
Gentlemen, I'm sorry. I'm trying to hold my tongue, but we have the same discussion every single November for at least 5 years. where you come in at the very last minute, you ask for the extension, you ask for all of these things, and we go, but do it, but please come in next year early. And every single year, you just don't come back in. So,
Mr. Councilman, you're right, but the city manager
Thank you
say-
for
just say
agreeing
put
that
the
I'm
request
correct.
and they
So-
don't put it in the agenda.
so if the
So
manager
that's
is
my
willing
fault
to have
this
it
time.
Okay, when did you give when did you submit your request? That's number one. When was the request, Mr. Hold on, sir. When was it request? When was the request made? Who's gonna answer, Derek or you? When was the request made?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The request was made on
Mr. Derek Corker,
October.
Director of,
Sorry, Mayor. Derek Corker, Director of Parks and Recreation, City of North Miami.
with a new beard.
October. No shave November. The request was made on October the 24th.
Oh, no. Oh, God. Yeah, that's a little bit too soon. Wow. Okay, so are you what are you asking us?
We-
'Cause,
What
Well,
we are
wait,
doing
uh,
is
that's
requesting.
we're either going to hear it or we're not going to hear it. And I just think it's a little unfair to the community that if we're going to make a vote and a decision on something that's not even advertised, you know, I don't even know if my staff is in favor or. Well, then 2 minutes have run up, so.
Well, you got 2 minutes, so Mr. Roland, you have your 2 minutes now. Go ahead.
Yes, just to say what
No, he had 2
the
minutes.
same thing, Mr. Mayor. We are requesting the same thing as last year. You gave us the fuel, the showmobile, and the generator, and the police officers, the cost. So, and this year we're gonna start on November the 27th until January the 17th. So we're gonna do it every Sunday because the community like it, and when we do it that way, they come and they enjoy themselves, and we're gonna keep it that way.
Are we supposed to talk
This is Citizen Forum.
Yeah, but
This is Citizen Forum. He is allowed to speak.
Oh,
Citizen Forum. There is no back and forth. I mean, of course, Mr. Director, if you would like to just say.
No.
No? Okay, sorry about that. I didn't mean to bypass you.
No, it's,
Yeah.
through the mayor,
Mhm.
it's not a issue of bypass.
Mm.
My director has met with me, I have met with them. There still was some outstanding information that we still don't have. The request is substantial, and we're going through it through our normal process.
So you will be following up with them?
I will,
Okay.
we'll follow up with them, we'll do everything we can. He's saying that the 22nd is too late, but I have to go through my process. You have set forth a process for us to follow, and we're following it.
Okay.
And the request is fairly substantial.
All right, thank you very much. So at this point, we will entertain one more person for Citizen Forum.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Sergio Silvestre, 14951 Royal Oaks Lane, 151 at Biscayne. I'm here representing the HOA for 151 at Biscayne. And I would just like to be given a little more advance notice when events like these are presented before the city council. Particularly with these events that take place are supposed to go no later than 9 p.m. on Sundays, and my family and all the families around in these facilities are kept up till 11:30 at night with children who have to go to school and work the next day. All I'm asking is to take some consideration into that, and also that the proper permitting is taken into place as well. What we encounter all the time the next day after these events are litter up and down the entire corridor leading into the preserves, the high school, the elementary, and the streets in our neighborhood because the cars, the overflow traffic goes into our spine roads. So I'm just asking that that they had the proper zoning and permits in place, and if they do have these events, that they end on a timely basis, and that cleanup is also taken into account afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you. Public hearing, citizens forum is now closed. At this time, we will go with reports. The only report that I believe I have is that we have a newlywed in our midst. Oh, well, she already State of the Union. That's for Hillary next time. Well, it could be Trump too, I don't know. Well, it's two candidates. Until this time tomorrow night. Actually, one thing that I would like to see passed, because you guys looked so well like two Siamese twins with the uniform. So if we could institute a uniform for the city manager. So from this point forward, you two come with the same color, at least the same color jacket, okay? That's it for my report.
Oh, that's it? Okay. I just wanted to remind everyone, on the 10th of this month, I'll be holding my town hall meeting, and all residents in District 4, especially those with housing needs, because that's been the priority. We've definitely, is it this Thursday? Oh, election is tomorrow. Oh my God, this Thursday.
Yeah.
Yes, the 10th. Oh my God. So please come out, and because once we close, those are the only those who attended the meeting are going to be the only ones subject to, once they qualify by our process, will be eligible for the lottery system. Also, we're going to start back the Let's Eat Healthy in District 4. A date, well, you'll be called. Those residents will be called, and that's basically it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any other report from any member?
No report.
Mr. Mayor? Sorry. Congratulations, Arthur, on your wedding. Wonderful affair, and thank you for allowing me to share the evening with you. Many years of happiness and success.
And lots of children.
I just want to congratulate our Parks Department for all of their great work on the haunted trails they did the couple of days leading into Halloween. It was a monumental undertaking once again, especially doing it 2 nights. I managed to get out there on, I think it was Saturday night when it rained. But hey, I'm telling you, those actors that were playing out in the scenes, they were real troopers. It was a downpour, and they were still in character, scaring people walking through there. So thank you for doing that, and congratulations. It was a lot of fun. I know it'll be even better next year. And don't forget, everybody, that this Friday, November the 11th, is Veterans Day, and we will again be at Griffin Park honoring the veterans who have served our nation so well over the years, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Merchant Marines. And so come on out to Griffin Park Friday, November the 11th at 11 a.m. 10 a.m. You're right. Sorry. Back in my day when World War I ended. That's all I've got, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Clerk.
Mayor, real quick, I'm gonna keep
Mr.
it short.
Elected Clerk.
But thank you, Mayor. I have a couple of people to thank, including you, Mayor. First thing I want to introduce Gertie. Everyone knows Gertie. She's my number 2 at the office after Stephanie. So whenever Stephanie's on vacation and having a great time, Gertie holds the fort down. She's gonna start, because she's now seeking her CMC. She's a member of IMC. We're gonna have her at more meetings. She's gonna start alternating meetings with the CRA meetings with Stephanie. So Mayor, please be patient with Gertie. Don't forget, she's an alumni from the mayor and council's office. Both Stephanie and Gertie, they're doing a great job. I want to thank the mayor, the city attorney, and the city manager's office, Duke and Larry. A couple of business owners approached me about some adjustments they wanted to make to our ordinances, our BTRs. The mayor literally left this mayor's doctor, like his real office, his clinic, and he came and sat down with the business owners. And they called me, and I told them to call him directly, but they were so grateful that the mayor, Tanya, the city attorney, and the city manager met with these business owners, spoke to them. Despite the fact that we were not able to accomplish what they were hoping to accomplish, they were still extremely grateful. So, Mayor, thank you so much for doing that.
No problem.
Vice Mayor Desume, during the weekends, we see constituents throughout the city of North Miami. One of my assistants and I, so we do that on the weekends. Whenever I have a constituent issue in District 4, I call Desume on the phone, and he always answers the phone. He allows me to put him on speakerphone, so despite the fact that he's not with me, he's always there. Thank you for that. And Bieneme staff in District 3, Councilman Bieneme and his staff, Fedina, they do the exact same thing. If I'm in District 3, someone has an issue and they want to listen to their council member, Ferdinand would answer the phone or BNMA would answer the phone. So thank you so much for assisting me with that.
You can call me too, because I'm in all districts.
Yes, you are. I will, Mayor. I will.
And why have you ignored my district? 'Cause
I don't
haven't
have
heard
any
from you.
complaints from your district so far. People living well in your district. No complaints there. So I'm going to get there. You and Scott, you guys will get those calls one day. So please, if you're listening out there, Scott District and Carol Keys District, please. I got to tell you, I went on the best humanitarian trip of my life. I've been a lot of places, been to Haiti once or twice before. Vice Mayor Desume, from his office, has done a remarkable job getting us connected with the tourism office with the Miami Dolphins when we went. Chief Juriga have set up probably the best humanitarian trip we have ever been on in our entire life. The Dolphins went out there. It was set up by the chief. We were able to give them a round of applause. These people gave out over 500 to 600 book bags. The Dolphins donated thousands of dollars to clinics. They donated thousands of dollars to water purification plants. And BNMA, Vice Mayor Desume, and myself was able to go on this trip. And I have to tell you guys, Chief Juriga did a remarkable job making that happen. Desume did a remarkable job. Literally, we were in the embassy meeting with the ambassador, and Councilman Desume, Vice Mayor Desume from his office with the Miami Dolphins with Larry Juriga set that up. They sat there and made that happen, and you guys need to be acknowledged for that. Job well done. Best humanitarian trip I've ever been on. And I want to congratulate or give a shout out to the police department again, code enforcement. Rahima Golden and your hearing officer, City Attorney Benjamin, when you're telling residents of the city that they are in violation and they have to pay $250 a day for fines for violations, it's usually a heartbreaking thing to do. But the way your code enforcement officers, the police department, are dealing with the residents, they're doing a remarkable job. And even when they go before the hearing officer Benjamin, he understands the issues in our community. He gives these people chances. So despite the fact, because I had a couple of people in my building who had to undergo that, and the manager, you assisted with that as well. And I have to really compliment how the city of North Miami has literally turned it around with customer service. You guys doing a remarkable job. And members in my building wanted me to personally thank you all for the job well done. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney?
Yes, Mayor, Council, just want to thank you all again. I know coming here a little bit early for the executive session, it's a little bit outside of your time, but thank you for the guidance you gave us, and I'll take into consideration everything you all talked about during that, and we'll have another session. The next meeting, I believe we said it was November 22nd, so the next regular scheduled meeting, we'll have an executive session then. And as promised last meeting, we're still working on the litigation report, so I hope to, by next meeting, be able to give you all a full report on all the litigation going on in the city. And it's been a kind of a task. It shouldn't be, but just trying to figure out all the cases that we're involved in, not only my office, but all the outside counsel that work for the city through the insurance and other people who've been assigned cases. I'm finding cases that we assigned years ago that people are still working on. So we're trying to get all that together, and I'll get you all a report at the next meeting. So thanks again.
Mr. Manager?
No report, but also like to publicly congratulate Deputy Manager on his nuptials. Quite an event.
Now you have the license to have kids. We need a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right. Thank you.